What's up, people? I'm Xogue, and welcome back to FTB Infinity. Now, have you seen my pickaxe? I seem to have misplaced it somewhere. What? No, it can't be in my head. I would feel that. I'm telling you, it's not in my head. Alright, just fine. Never mind it. Anyway, so I've worked on a bit of things, and there was a problem because I tried to record it. And it didn't work because it didn't get my mic sounds, which means it was a completely silent video. You could see what I was doing, but you couldn't hear me talk about it, and there was a glitch. I hope that does not continue to happen. Anyway, so the first thing you should know is that I finished this guy here. This thing is now fully powered, and there is absolutely no reason to have it fully charged like it is, because I can't even take out enough power to make it good. Because if I were to take out everything that it was possibly capable of outputting, then this would be such an astronomical number, and this would be so high it's ridiculous. But where it's at right now is pretty good. It's just, you know, about 60,000 flux per tick. It's pretty good. It's all right. That'll be fine for now. In worst case scenario, you know, we can just increase it later. Really? And just add on another output situation up there. Anyway, so this is also done, just, you know, ender chest style, taking out all of the Eulorium in my system. Let's see how much we have left. Still have over 3,000. We're good. And yeah, it's a thing. So my Ender Quarry is done. All of the ore has been processed. And if you remember, I don't know if it was in the last episode or whatnot, but at some point I did mention that all I really want to do is be able to come here and be like, hey, I want 100 of these, and then be able to make them. So here's the problem. We have plenty of redstone, no problem, but Certus quartz crystals. Now, first thing about Certus quartz is that I am processing them the wrong way, and some of you may or may not have thought about calling me out on it. These should not be sag milled. There is a better way. If you fortune them, you get a lot more out of them, and that is entirely true. I have done it many times before using this guy right here. Kind of manually fortuned them, and I got a lot more. It's a thing that happens. But for right this second, it's not too big of a deal just to let that happen. Yes, if I wanted to make 100 of these guys, I don't have enough. And I very well could have. 2,000 of them through sag mill. Very well could have been like 8,000 in, you know, with the fortune, but it's also a lot of fortuning, lots and lots of it. So I don't really want to do that. Anyway, the other thing is pure Certus. We'll get into that in a minute. But the rest, outside the quite clear glass and the glowstone dust, yeah, the rest of this, the diamonds, the Certus quartz crystals, the gold, the redstone, these other things can all be gotten through mining. But some of this other stuff that I do want to automate, such as pure Certus quartz or quite clear glass, can be, you know, done through other things. Like, for example, this glass right here, all I can do, all I really have to do to get this when I need it is to add a processing recipe. And that's done by going here. We do a processing recipe, and I can just say that one sand equals one quite clear glass, and then all I have to do in order to make this happen is just put this into an interface on the alloy smelter. There's another lag spike. I hate those. I don't know why that happens, but if I throw this into an interface that's attached to an alloy smelter, then the system, the ME system, will then know exactly how to get it, and therefore it will see that it has enough sand to make all of the quite clear glass that it needs. Now that I have that pattern, I can throw you in there and I don't have to worry about it. Now, what's next? The other one is the pure Certus quartz crystals. Now, I mentioned this before. In order to get those, what you need to do is you actually need to combine sand and Certus dust. And by doing this, you get the seeds. So I can add a pattern in to make the seeds. And then after that, I can use the, what is it called? I forget. I always forget what this thing is called, and I don't know why. Botania. What are you called? You are... No. No. Wow, there's so many blocks here. I don't remember what it's called. Why can I not remember this thing? Open crate, that's what it's called. So all I really need to do is just make the open crate, which apparently I don't have the wood for. That's weird. And I don't need... What? Give me thing you. So I also did something else here, by the way. Oh, I broke the flower. I did not mean to do that. Okay, let's put the flower back. But you see right here in the ground that I have, you know, some of these logs. All I now have to do is just use the builder's wand and they're all going to be processed. Anyway, so with the open crate, all it really does is any items sent into it are instantly dropped straight down. So what I can do with this is I can put it right here, hook up an interface with... Oh man, the bag. The bag. I need the bag. Come here, you. And then you switch spots. I can add an interface right on the side of this guy, put the open crate right on top of it, and then add in a recipe that says 1 seed equals 1 pure Certus quartz. So then my system will see that it needs pure Certus quartz. It will then see the recipe for how to get pure Certus quartz is to drop in a seed. And then since it won't have any seeds, it'll see the recipe for that is to combine sand and Certus quartz dust. And it will just all do that for me. And I don't have to worry about it. So then after that, all I have to do is just make sure I've mined enough and everything will be good. It'll all be good to go. We'll be fine. Now this is going to be an issue. I don't know how to solve that. I guess I could just kind of quarry in the nether. That should do it. But then again, with Silk Touch, I might need to add a recipe that says 1 glowstone equals, I don't know what, 4 of these guys? Something like this, and then throw this into something that can actually do that, like pulverizer maybe, or maybe the sag mill, I'm not sure. But all in all, I'll be able to automate the entire thing. So all I'm really going to do now is just set this up, make it all work, and then I'll run through and actually demonstrate things. All right, and here we are. Now, I made a lot of recipes. I did a lot of things. Yeah, so I have the quartz, quite clear glass, like I was mentioning. I did that. I made the ME interface. I have the recipes for all these guys. I have the recipes for capacity cards, acceleration cards, their original thing. So I can basically go in here and be like, I want some 64K. And if you see here, Certus quartz, that's mineable. Glowstone, we already mentioned. I'm not 100% sure how to get that. Gold, diamond, silicon, all of those are mineable, basically. And this is only mineable because you can sag mill redstone ore and get these anyway. I know I've mentioned that before, but I figured it was worth a re-mention. Anyway, so here's the open crate. So basically, all I really need to do is I can go into here and say that I want some pure, Fluix crystals. And I can be like this, and it knows how to make the seeds. You see right here, it says to craft 10 because I wanted 10 of them, which means 5 Fluix dust and 5 sand. So I click start, and my magnet's already off. And you see they're down there cooking right now. So it's pretty much like that. And down at the bottom, what I have is a world interaction upgrade on a transfer node, which will allow it to pick it up. And then this item filter right here has the pure Fluix crystal and the pure Certus quartz crystal. And those things, ooh, that's water. And these things will just allow it to pick it up from the world as soon as they are equal to that, you know, once they actually are the pure stuff. So that's not a problem anymore. I have all of that going. And then you look under here and it's like, crap, what in the world is going on under this thing? It's messy, it's dirty, it's ugly is what it is. But it is functional, so we're going to leave it like this for a little bit. But don't worry, that will change eventually. I do want to change that up and make that look a lot better. But at least from up here, it looks pretty decent. I mean, over here, this is a Botania area. It will not stay this way forever. This is going to change as well. You know, it'll look a lot like this center post right here, because this is the design that I'm working with at the moment. And then again, you know, I'll try to work in the blue somewhere. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to happen, but it will happen. Now, that's going to be one of the issues with this, is that it actually, you know, it requires dirt. You know, I need to have dirt here for the plants and stuff, so I got to work out how to do that. I guess it could be placed on grass too, which would be a lot easier to work with, but we'll see how that goes in a little while. I realized some things. Now, I mentioned before how the Certus Quartz crystals, I'm not processing the ore the right way. You see up here, like I mentioned before, what this is going to do is it's going to send all of the Certus Quartz ore into the sag mill area that I have over here, which will give us, you know, it'll still give us the Certus Quartz crystals, but it's not done properly. Now, there is a device that I think it's called the Block Smasher. Now, this guy right here, it's not all that difficult to make, just a piston, some plastic sheets, and I'm having some major frame problems right now. This is ridiculous. But, you know, it's not too difficult to make this guy. But what this will allow us to do is it will allow us to actually, you know, fortune blocks. But it takes a lot of mob essence. It requires mob essence to do it, and it actually takes a bunch of time. So we're going to need to set up a lot of them in order to make it work appropriately and fast enough. But you see right here, we do have an issue. I mean, both of these guys are empty. They're pretty much empty as soon as they gain mob essence. So what we need to do is we need to come up with a better way, a better system of gaining a lot of mob essence. Because if we're going to be fortuning, you know, a few different things, including diamonds and Certus Quartz and all of those things, then, you know, number one, we're going to need a large array of this. We're talking maybe 15 to 20 of them, because it really takes a long time per block. And I don't want it to take a huge amount of time while I'm mining. So we're going to do that, although maybe not, because, I don't know, once I have like 1 or 2 quarries going full power, we'll probably need that many. But we'll get into that when that time comes. For now, we're going to leave it as it is. But I figured I'd mention my plan for how to do that. And before we do need to work on the mob essence. And again, I have to come up with a way to do that. I got to think about it. So if you guys have any ideas, feel free. The other thing is that I'm having huge frame problems. Like, every now and then I'll just get a huge frame lag spike, and it just, I literally can't move for like 5 seconds, and then it'll snap back. And look at this. Frame problems, 8 frames, 10 frames. I don't know why that's happening, but it definitely is. And now it's not going away. Usually it snaps back by now. There it goes. So I don't know what is going on with this mod pack, but it's destroying any chance I have at actually, you know, doing this right. I have 14 singularities. And it's just driving me nuts. It's driving me absolutely nuts. Anyway, so there's another thing I did want to show you. And this one is in the Ender IO mod pack. It's the ME conduit. Now, if you remember why I said I like these, they have the dense version too. So they have the regular, which is 8 channels, and they have the dense, which is 32 channels. It's really, really cool. And it seems like they're actually a lot cheaper to make. So we might end up just moving over to these guys and just use Ender IO the whole time. But if you remember why I said I like the Ender IO stuff, is because they can go in the same block. Well, what this lets me do is it'll let me, where's an example? Right here. For example, I have the Ender IO energy conduit right here going to power this guy. Now, what this guy is right now, he just has the recipe for the quite clear glass with sand, and I put it right here, threw in an extra alloy smelter with fully upgraded and everything. And that's just so it was closer to my ME system when I wanted to automate, you know, something like this. And I didn't want to send a mass amount of it through my big chain of alloy smelters over here. But what I can do with this, although I guess I could have it output directly into this chest. But then if there's something else going, it would take a while. Oh my God, the frame problems are driving me nuts. Anyway, so like I was saying, here's the Ender IO energy portion of this thing right here. But with the ME conduit, the Ender IO ME conduit, I would have been able to hook all of this in the same line. So I would have just been able to have, you know, energy and the interface and everything all on the same path, and I wouldn't have had to split it up like this, which is, I don't know, it's one of the things that contributes to it looking so bad. Like this just, eventually this is all going to be torn out, all of my chests. I'm going to end up having more input and output chests for all kinds of things. Here's my output for the Yellorium. And, you know, I'm just going to group them all in the same location, try to make it look decent and all that good stuff. But there's always going to be something underneath here that just doesn't look all that great. It's going to happen because it's kind of the nature of having a one thick platform like this. I mean, I don't really have much of a choice. It's just a good thing we're always on top. Anyway, so yeah, you know, like I was saying, those Ender IO ME conduits, those are going to come in handy. And we're going to start using those in the near future because those are very, very handy. But yeah, I mean, we're going to get into a few of these things. And the block smasher is something I want to get into, but I believe we need to come up with a system to get a lot more mob essence and hopefully figure out a way to fix my frame lag problems because it's driving me absolutely nuts. Look at this. 1, 3, 4 frames per second, 3. Oh, goodness. Okay, so hopefully all goes well, and I closed out a few programs, I restarted my computer, I did a few things to help the lag situation. Hopefully that doesn't come back. We're going to find out. But I've been working on something, and I didn't want to completely finish it until, you know, I could bring you guys in and actually show you exactly what's going on. So here is the massive construction that is supposed to remedy what I was telling you about, and that I need a whole bunch of mob essence. So what the heck is this thing doing? Well, right now it's actually getting me a whole bunch of experience. You see this stuff right here? This is regular old XP. And I can actually come in here with a bare hand and get out some XP a little bit. You see my XP is going up right there? Yeah, that's a thing that's happening. Now, how does that work? First of all, how does that work? Well, this is the mob grinder from Draconic Evolution. Mob grinder. Now, it doesn't give you too much information about anything, but you can click on it. You can see the recipe. Just 1 draconium ingot, a draconic core, which really isn't too hard to make. You know, a couple diamond swords, iron. It's really cheap considering what it does. Now, the grinder that I am using over in this side right here, this one does a 5x5. It requires, you know, the mob essence and everything. This one does not require mob essence, and it does a 7x7. And you can supply it with RF power, which is the stuff you see down here. Now, this looks a little bit like a mess, but honestly, I like the way this looks better than, well, that's fine. But the stuff under here, that all needs to be cleaned up. That's a hot mess. This looks a little bit better given what it is. Basically, I'm supplying power to all 4 of the sides with 1 tesseract, which is why it looks like it does. And there's a cat that just meowed and probably died. And then you have the collection area, which is collecting the vacuum hoppers here, collecting both items and experience. And, you know, obviously the experience is going into the tanks. These are going into the chests because you can't output it directly into a conduit. So it's into the chest. That way the conduits can take it from the chest and put it directly into my system, just like this. And that's not a big deal. So the cats can still spawn outside of the thing. Good to know. Not a huge deal. Anyway, oh, lag spike. Oh, this is a big one. It's a big one. I can't move. There we go. Anyway, see, that's kind of a thing that happens. Anyway, so this is kind of the idea that I'm going with. Now, you see these are a little bit tacky, but it doesn't look too horrible. It's not too bad. And it is highly functional because if I go down in here, I can show you what they are, which some of you can probably guess. Let me fly. Thank you. If we go in here, they're actually drawbridges. Now, you also see in my inventory right here that I have a bunch of cursed earth. Now, what do I want to do with this is pretty obvious. I want to, you know, put these in here, get the drawbridges going so that I can close and open them with this lever right here. That way, I can actually turn it off, and if I ever need to come in here to do maintenance, I can, and I don't have to worry about dying. And that is something I definitely wanted to include in this version of, you know, a mob trap. Obviously, because it's important. It's a pretty important thing to not die when you're trying to do stuff. So that's what we did. Anyway, I don't have enough to cover it all, but with dirt, it should spread, provided it's not exposed to direct sunlight. And right here, you see dark glass, which will negate the sun's effect on the cursed earth. So it should spread without a problem. Now, yeah. The other issue is that this is liquid XP. which means it's not going to go into the grinders and it won't go into our block breaker or block smasher or whatever it's called that we want to use it for. So what I'm going to end up doing is actually taking all of the XP out of this, and I'm going to store it in a separate little area, maybe just a drum, and eventually I'll store it into a bedrockium drum or an ender tank connected to a bedrockium drum, maybe somewhere over here. I'm thinking an ender tank for now. And that way I'll just deposit it all into here. And once this is completely full, let's go ahead and drop my XP into this guy. Once this is completely full, then it will automatically be redirected into the other situation that I'm going to set up. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. But the way we're going to do that, the way we're going to turn that into the actual mob essence that we need is actually through a thing called the sewer. Now what the sewer does is it takes in liquid XP and it outputs mob essence, which is perfect for what we need. And I can just use a regular old faucet. I think that's what it's called. Is it called? No, it's a XP shower. Yeah, this guy right here. It looks very small, very simple to make, but basically all it does is that it just spits out the XP from some kind of open blocks tank, or I don't know if it only works on these tanks. I'm not sure, but I know it does work on these. I just don't know if that's the only thing it works on. Anyway, so this will basically shower the XP on top of the sewers that I was just mentioning, and it will turn it into mob essence, and then I can use it and store it in these barrels or move it over there to where my block smasher is going to be. I still don't know if that's what it's called. I don't remember. Crusher, block breaker, I don't know, something. And there's also another one that I found that I might have to play with, and if you guys know and I get a comment about it beforehand, that'd be awesome. I don't remember where it was though. Was it in one of these? Yeah, the block breaker from Project Red. I don't know if there's a way to put fortune on this. I've never messed with it before, but we'll see how things go. I don't think I'm going to get to it in this episode, so I should be able to read a few comments before that. So if you have any ideas on that, then let me know. But for now, we're just going to see if we can't finish setting this guy up. And all I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to put in all of the cursed earth. I'm going to open it up and hopefully let it spread to the rest of the dirt, make sure everything works. And then we're going to test out a different theory that I have with this stuff. Right, so I do have things set up and pretty much good to go. Check this out. On. And mobs start to spawn instantly. That's just amazing. Now, here's the thing. You see they're dying already, okay? That was not the intended functionality of this thing. That's not how it was supposed to work. They're supposed to get pushed off the edge, and that's part of what I mentioned I wanted to test, is if conveyor belts work on top of this. Now, a lot of you probably already know the answer to this, and it very well could be no, and in that case, I'll just end up hooking up fans, and I'll be putting them right here. And this power will just be, I'll have a block right behind it, and these red alloy wires will be on the roof of that to power those blocks, and then therefore power the fans. If, of course, this doesn't already do it just like that, which it very well could. But I don't know yet. We're going to find out. We'll play with that when the time comes, if it comes down to that. But you see all of the littering of everything. It's kind of a thing that's happening right now. So what I need to do is actually figure out a way to see if these what are they, conveyors actually work. Yeah, I have a lot of bows. That's a thing you get a lot of when you're doing any kind of a mob trap type deal. So what I want to do now is actually try to figure out how to get in here without completely dying. I'm going to turn off my magnet because that's kind of annoying. Go down and go into the hopper things. Alright, so we're going to get shot at a bunch here initially. And probably, that too. But actually, that's not the right placement for you. Hurry up. Break, break, break. Pickaxes work so much better. But I want to see if mobs can spawn on these. And see if this is going to work just like this. I hope it will. We're only doing a very small test as it stands right now. And it looks like that might have just confirmed that they do. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. Okay. No blowing up. Blowing up is very bad. That's the only thing I'm really actually worried about. And this is an example of something that would be helped if I could do the advanced genetics creepers are scared of me thing. That would be so handy. Anyway, so we're just going to wait here for a little bit to see if mobs spawn on top of the conveyors, which I don't know. Something's telling me they won't. Not when, not with Cursed Earth, where the block itself is actually what spawns them. When you just have conveyors underneath the spawner, it's not a huge deal. It does still work. Everything is fine. But here, it's actually not looking like it's working. Yeah, see how they're only spawning on that right side? So this doesn't look like it's going to work. I might just have to use fans. This isn't working. And that's pretty unfortunate. But then again, at the same time, it will be a lot easier to, to put in the fans than it would be to put in these conveyors because, I have to go down there while the Cursed Earth is active in order to do the conveyors. But that's okay. That's all right. So let's turn this off because I'm curious also if it's just going to destroy these guys or what. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Yep, pops them off. No problem. They'll all go back into my system. That's perfect. So now all I really need to do, I think I already have some fans. Fan. Not fab. Fab is not what I was looking for. Fan, yes. I have 24 fans, but I actually need 28. 7 is 14, and then times 2, 28. So I need 4 more of these fans. That's not what I wanted to do. And this, they're pretty easy to make. Just need, a slab, iron ingot, and iron bars. Anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and hook these guys up and get them powered however they're supposed to be powered. However I can get them powered. Hopefully this works. In theory, it should. But you never know. I don't know. Mods are weird sometimes. Alright, so I have all of the Cursed Earth and everything in. I've got the fans in, and there you go. You see a mob spawn. But if you notice and you pay attention, it's not nearly as frequent as it was. We have a problem. You want to know what the problem is? These things let light in. So we have to cover the back of these guys with something that will prevent the light from getting in. Now, I could just use some more dark glass, which I might do. But I think we're going to go a little bit more decorative with it. And I'm going to do a version of marble. Let's check out what kind of chisel stuff we have available to us. We could use these. These might look cool. Let's see what this looks like. Because this should block out the light. Oop, too far. So what do we think about that? Just having a little bit of that poking out the back. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it definitely mixes it up, but it's not the greatest thing ever. But I might be able to add some slopes onto it or something, make it look a little bit more decent. But for now, I think that'll do. I think that'll be good enough to block out the light that we need to block out. In order for this, the mobs, I keep saying mods for some reason, but in order for the mobs to actually spawn in as frequently as they were, before I added the fans. So let's see if this is what the problem was. Let's see if they're going to... Yep, there they go. Bam. They're all spawning in really, really well. And the other reason, some of you might be questioning why exactly, I'm using... Why I'm doing anything, really. And that's basically just because, the items in the experience will stay up top if I don't. And the vacuum hoppers that I have down there won't be able to get the experience or the items if they aren't pushed off somehow, and the fans will push off items and experience. So that's not a big deal there. Now, I still have the issue with the cats spawning around the outside, and that can be a problem. But for now, it's going pretty well. Look at this. I'm getting a whole bunch of experience, a whole bunch of everything going into each one of these things. These experience pools right here are going to fill up really, really quick. So I'll probably end up doing something with them off camera, bring them to some kind of a central location. Ender tank is probably going to be in there somewhere. I'll deposit it into here. And then I'll work on the system to actually transfer over the XP into Mob Essence and start storing that. But for right this second, it's going okay. It's going strong, and it's not going to be too big of a deal for the cats. I'm not too worried about that. Now, there is another thing I could have done with this. If you don't like the fans in this design and maybe you wanted to use this in yours or something similar to it, you could also put up a, I forget what it's called. There's, what are you called? Project Red has, no, which one are you? integration. There should be, I think it's just called a timer. Timer? Yes, this guy right here, the timer, is something you could use. You could use this, and basically what it will do is it's just a 1 block big timer. So you could stick this on, you know, whatever the other side of this. In my case, I just have, you know, my wireless transmitter right here that just sends the signal to all 4 of them at the same time right here. But you could just as easily get rid of the lever, put in a timer, and make sure it's long enough for all of this to extend and retract. And you can just have it automated. Like, man, I don't know, every 30 seconds or so, pull it back and bring it back forward. And that way, you don't have to worry about the fans, and at that point in time, everything that was stuck up here would instantly drop down 1 level, and then all the hoppers and everything could get them. You won't have to worry about this center little area or anything. It'll just kind of be a self-contained system that doesn't use fans. It'll just drop everything down. It's cool. That's the other idea I had in case the fans didn't work how I wanted them to. But this seems to be working pretty good. We have our mob grinder, so I can get rid of this one now. We don't need these blaze spawners, and yeah, it's going to be a pretty cool thing. So the next thing I want to do is I want to be able to store as much of this stuff as I can, and the best way to do that is going to be a bedrockium drum. Now this guy needs a lot of bedrockium ingots, and they it requires quite a bit of stuff. It requires a lot of stuff. So we need to start working on some mass system to get a whole bunch of compressed cobblestone. And I think that's probably what we're going to work on in the next episode. We'll get that hooked up, and hopefully, I don't think we're going to get to it because it takes a long time to make bedrockium. But we're going to see what kind of system we can come up with to actually get some of that going. It's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty awesome, I think. So if you liked the episode, don't forget to hit that like button. If you want to see more, you want my videos sent directly to you, then don't forget to subscribe. Comment, favorite, share if you want to. If you feel like you want to. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Oh, and don't forget to check out my, you know, see if you can find my pickaxe. It's not in my head, I'm telling you. It's not in my head. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.